fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for inviting me along this morning to Kerala. It's my first time visiting Kerala, and what a beautiful place. It won't be my last. I better, before I get phone calls from Washington, I better correct my title. I'm the Chief Executive for Lockheed Martin India, so I just look after to the Indian market and some of the other countries in South Asia. It's a delight to be here at this startup event, and I really applaud the government of Kerala and Make a Village for what they are doing to promote startups. Government support for startups hasn't always been there, and when I look back at the beginnings of Lockheed Martin back in 1912, just over 100 years ago, when two brothers, Alan and Malcolm Lockheed in California, watched the Wright brothers a few years ago take flight in Carolina and decided there was a market out there to transfer people by air. Big excitement, lots of people were doing it. These guys set out into, which was largely a self-funded event to make airplanes. And they were joined, it was a big kind of community of folks, people like Lockheed, Jack Northrop, you may have heard of Northrop Grumman, the founder of that company, joined the brothers in 1916. And about 100 years ago, March 29th, 1918, they launched their first aircraft. And the point of kind of mentioning this is, Lockheed didn't suddenly appear as an aircraft manufacturer. They struggled for quite a few years, and for a period they actually kind of shut down between 1921 and 1926. So startup is a hard business. To have this government support from Kerala, and I think from the government of India, is really encouraging. And in particular, a sector like hardware, as described, Lockheed Martin is involved in space travel, satellites, in building aircraft, in building ships, electronic sensors, weapons, and so on, the whole gamut of defense and security equipment. And without the stuff that you guys make in the room related to the electronics and the hardware side, none of our stuff would function. So it's vital that that support is there. I think the Indian domestic market, certainly on the consumer side, and I know that's where Make a Village has its concentration, is huge and will become very, very large in the coming years as India continues to grow at the rate it is. On the civil aviation side, India is going to be one of the top 3 countries in the world for the size of the market in the coming years. So the markets are huge, and the market for your products and your innovations are huge. I think the initiatives by the government of India, the Make in India initiative, is very encouraging. That encourages foreign investors, companies like mine, to look at India, to look at the market. We've actually been here for over 25 years in India. We've been manufacturing. We have 2 plants actually in Hyderabad where we've begun to manufacture since 2010. We've been manufacturing the back end of one of our aircraft, the C-130J transport aircraft, and we also, in a second facility next door, we manufacture the cabin for the S-92 helicopter for Sikorsky, which is also a Lockheed Martin company. So we've had some experience manufacturing here. At the moment, we're doing the large-scale components, but next month we're opening another investment where we're looking at machine components, more components to go into the major items that we're exporting. So we're bringing more and more value add to India, and that's based on our experience here, the fact that we've been here long enough to gain that experience, to see that what we get in India is very good value for the company, and I think we worked very well together. But there is a need, on the major component side. I think we're pretty well supported. There is a need, I think, to support more producers of hardware, of electronics and so on into that industry. And I know the government's taken some initiatives there to promote MSMEs and so on and startups into the defense industry. And we would encourage that. Most of our innovation comes from people like you in the room for our products to keep us at the cutting edge and the leading edge of our industry. I think that the startup ecosystem in India is really benefiting from things like the Startup India. We ourselves have been involved in we have a program that we're running with the Department of Science and Technology. We've run it, we're in our 12th year now. We will launch our 2018 program later this month on the 21st in Delhi. This is a program called the India Innovation and Growth Program. We've been partners, as I say, for 12 years now, and what that is aimed at is looking at startups. It's looking at university students who've got some innovation. There may be a lab out there somewhere in India that's got this great idea but doesn't know how to go to the next stage to take it to the market. People like Orville and Wilbur Wright, when they started flying, they were the engineers and the innovators, but they didn't necessarily go on to make a huge aviation company. That was done by the business folks. And so some folks we recognize need help to go from that idea, the product, to get into the market, and often that's through people just need exposure. People may need help with creating business plans. They may need help how to get hold of investors, angel investors or venture capitalists, or they may just need luck to be introduced to the right person or the right industry as they go around their travels. So programs like ours, the India Innovation and Growth Program, was really set up to, firstly, to identify those innovations that are happening in India all over the country, to give them the exposure. For the last 10 years, we've been taking people to we run a competition. We get typically about 1,500 ideas. We look through them. We take what we think are the top 50. We then put them in front of a panel. Selection panel. They pick out the top 30 of those, and of those, 10 have been going over to the States each year to be exposed to the innovation ecosystem in the States in Silicon Valley. The program was modified 2 years ago to bring on Tata Trust as a partner, because where our expertise is more on the industrial innovation, Tata Trust is looking a lot more at the societal innovation, how to improve people's lots. And so they were very complementary to what we did. And so we're continuing this program in the future now with those 3 partners coordinated by Vicky. And I would encourage, and we are each year now taking people to MIT in Boston for a week and on the east coast of the US. And again, this program really is there to expose people, introduce them to kind of business plans, investors, and so on. And we hope that this kind of program, along with what we're doing in industry, what we're doing in Hyderabad, actually are both joint ventures, will encourage the ecosystem to grow around what we're doing now. Where we've built product in the past, it may start off as building one item, but slowly over time, small industries grow around that. In Turkey, for example, where we built an aircraft a number of years ago, we started off just assembling the aircraft, but now that company has grown into Turkey's largest aerospace and defense company. So, from small things, big things grow, and the people who make that grow are the guys in this room. We've got some programs. IGP, I would encourage anybody who's looking for exposure, for looking for some help, for looking for maybe some seed funding, which IGP offers as well. Look at indiainnovates.in, and we'll see if we can't help the really good stuff that the government of Kerala and places like Maker Village are doing for all of you. But thank you very much. I really look forward to today, and I wish you the very best of luck for your conclave. Thanks.